So right now, we're waiting for these recommendations to come out. They're likely coming out in May. But what we understand is that the government is, while they're reading over the recommendations, they have most of them already, they're going to be starting to draft legislation pretty soon. That's why this meeting this weekend is so important. That's why our actions are so incredibly crucial at this very moment. So we've talked about our priorities here, but we're not just looking for one or two of them. Combined, they constitute a serious overhaul of our employment laws and a picture of what decent work could look like for our province, what fair and just workplaces could look like. So as we move forward, once the recommendations come out, and then in the months to follow, it will be very important that we are loud, visible, and that we're united. Our broad-based movement must present a strong common front, and I'm deeply committed to that, and I know that you are too. We must be the strongest we've ever been if we're going to win. Now, the government may try to placate one side or the other with tiny offerings. So even if we do get a $15 minimum wage, which is so important and would be amazing, it still doesn't change the laws, unfortunately, right? And so the government may try to pit us against each other, but we must be clear and that we expect serious changes to both the Employment Standards Act and the Labor Relations Act. At every turn, we need to be present in talking about these issues that we care about. So some strategies for the win. Be visible. If you haven't been active yet, now is the time. And I really do mean now is the time. So talk it up to everyone you know. As Mary said, unfortunately, the conversation around precarious work is actually really easy to have because so many people have the experience of it. So start with your own friends and family and reach out from there. Not just talk about precarious work, but talk about how it's possible to have better conditions and laws that protect everyone, and it's possible this year. Meet with your MPP. What we found over and over again is, and I know you'll hear this from other presenters today and tomorrow, is that you don't need to be an expert. Sometimes that's very intimidating. You feel like you don't have the list of facts and figures, but you don't actually need them. You need a compelling story about why these changes affect you and your family. Use your talents to help win the day. You could write letters to the editor. You can figure out other ways to use your talents to advance this cause of decent work. Practice solidarity with unionized and non-unionized workers in your community. And use the situations as examples to highlight the need for changes to our employment laws. And carry it into other legislative discussions. If you're here representing an organization that regularly weighs in on legislative issues or public policy issues, consider using these changing workplace review demands that we've talked about today and take them into everything that you're doing. So for example, the government is now starting its review of the fair wage policy, which hasn't been reviewed since 1995, so it's another oldie. And it governs the wages and working conditions for companies who bid on government work. So largely it's construction and building services. So us at the OFL, we're recommending that the scope actually be broadened to include government-funded entities like universities and hospitals, so that food service workers don't need to strike for a $15 minimum wage, so that they have a $15 minimum wage and they can bargain up from there. So we also suggest that you build on the alliance within your community that already exists, and there are people representing a lot of different geographic regions here this weekend, so take advantage of that. And lastly, the goal is decent work legislation in this government's mandate. And then we want the Fight for 15 and Fairness campaign goals to be reflected in the next provincial election, so that it is an election issue, and not even an election issue, but the election issue. So make decent work the election issue. So we know that the government is going through the recommendations, but they are going to be drafting legislation very soon. So this means that over the next few months, and I know I'm repeating myself, but over the next few months, it is absolutely vital that we all work to do some of these things, if not all of them, because we want them to feel such an intense pressure, like a crushing pressure from us, that they must deliver on a progressive vision for decent work for all Ontarians. So with that, I want to just make one tiny plug. The OFL, with the Fight for 15 and Fairness campaign and the Canadian Labour Congress, is hosting a street party on May 11th as part of the Canadian Labour Congress convention that's happening here in Toronto. So that's going to be at King and Bay, and decent work will be one of the flagship issues. So if you can spend your lunch with us, there'll be some free popcorn, there'll be some live music, some dancers. We're going to learn some dance moves. As you can see, I don't know any dance moves, so that will be very helpful. So I hope to see you all there. Thanks so much.